Hi everyone. Today we're going to talk about this book that I read over the weekend, which is called Show Your Work by Kleon. He's a very good writer. I think for a very short book of 214 pages, and not everything is text. There's a lot of drawings here. It's a jewel. It has so many good pieces of advice. It should be on everybody's bookcase, I think. And it's a pretty quick read. I think I read it in about, an hour and a half, 2 hours. But it has very good insights. So I'm just gonna give you a couple highlights and hopefully it'll be useful for you. So the first one that he talks about is, you don't have to be a genius to show your work or share your voice. There's this myth, let's say, of one person that is, gifted, Mozart or Tiger Woods or Michael Jordan, right? And in reality, that really doesn't happen for 99% of the people. And even those guys who are brilliant, they actually received some help. And I remember that I read in another book that was, I think it was called something like Greatness is Overrated or something like that. That it talked about how Tiger Woods, his dad, was a golfer. And he used to have Tiger sit down with him and watch him golf and do all the swings. So he was actually, since very little, observing that behavior, and he internalized that, and that's one of the reasons why he became very good. Same thing with Mozart. I think his dad was a teacher, so he actually helped him out with the instruction and the discipline to practice and become very successful down the road. But in reality, what the author of this book is trying to get at is that creativity is in reality a collaboration effort. The other thing he talks about is everybody is afraid of being an amateur these days, when in reality, if you're an amateur, you have the advantage over the professional because you don't have anything to lose. So you can risk it all. You can put yourself out there and be willing to, as he said, suck, and you should be completely fine. If you have a spectrum, right, and you have mediocrity on one side of the spectrum and excellence in the other side of the spectrum, you can get from mediocre to great in very small increments, right? So even though it's huge, you can make strides in your work by putting yourself out there every day, and then that 1% effort will compound over time. On this point of doing a daily effort, I actually remember when I was training for 2 years ago for a triathlon, and how I really couldn't swim. I probably couldn't even do 400 meters without stopping. Like, I actually had to stop and I had to gasp for air. And from there I was like, all right, you know what, I'm gonna scale back a little bit on the running, scale back a little bit on the bike, and I'm just gonna focus on swimming. And in the second triathlon that I did, then I reduced the time from 53 minutes all the way to 38, just by focusing on the right technique and just like swimming more often. So it is true that a daily effort yields results eventually, like Lego blocks, right? You start building those day to day, and then you start to become stronger, better, faster. Another very powerful piece of the book was start to read obituaries, because they're more about life than about death. One of the things that I've actually considered as an exercise is to actually write my own obituary. What would I like for people to read 100 years from now? Was he an entrepreneur? Was he a businessman? Was he an artist? So, and then that would be the guiding light for me to, make progress towards that goal. The other one that I thought was very good insight was that your work does not speak for itself. You have to tell that story. You have to sell your work. And I think that if you're a good storyteller and then you use all these structures that exist to sell your work, that will eventually land in a promotion or a raise or whatever. So I think, he had a very good point in that, and I could totally relate. The other thing he talked about was you cannot find your voice if you don't use it. So you already have an internal voice. You already have something that you can share with the world based on the experiences that you have, where you were born, where you work, where your parents are, the education system that you went through, your friends, the movies you watch. Everything has actually, if you think about it, concentrated into this nucleus. And that was already a voice within you that is just, kind of waiting to go outside and talk about something. So I think that's it. Look, I really enjoyed this book. I really recommend it. That's pretty much it for this video, and I hope you enjoy it. Take care and see you next time. Ciao.